Good evening. If anyone could let me know in the chat box if my microphone is working. All right. Thank you so much. Finish up here. Okay. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Thank you very much for showing up this evening. We're going to get started in just a couple of seconds here. All right. Well, we're going to get going here. Thank you all very much for showing up. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, little after 7 o'clock. Sorry for the delay. So appreciate your time. And I, first of all, want to apologize. We have been having some technology issues. We are actually moving over to a new webinar system that is embracing more platforms. So as a result, the technology is not perfected, but we certainly are working on it. So your patience is certainly appreciated. So any inputs, please feel free. We are always looking for constructive criticism to improve everyone's experience. Appreciate everybody attending on such a beautiful Wednesday today. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump right into it. We're going to try to get everybody in and out of here in under 50 minutes today. So today's going to be a little bit different than some of the webinars we've done in the past. Today, we are going to focus very heavily on our new application, Zero Down Scout. We have over 3,000 down payment assistance programs and grants across the United States where people can just type in any address and they can get a feel for what programs that are out there. So I am located in southeastern Michigan. So I find that that's where most of my following comes from. So Detroit is my home city. So I always tend to pick programs that are available in the Detroit area. Lots of money sitting out there. City of Detroit's actually sitting on $25,000 right now. Tobias Harris program is always another one that I like. $75,000. So anybody looking in the Detroit area or southeastern Michigan, for that matter, no shortage of funds out there. So as well as across the country. So just to give you a feel for it. Right now, let's start New York. I had one last week, $360,000 for a couple of cities out on Long Island, oddly enough. New York City itself, $250,000 is readily available. Skip over to the other side of the country, Los Angeles, $161,000 available for down payment assistance. And when I say down payment assistance, there are several types, but I always tend to focus on the free money. And what I mean by free, as long as you buy a house and own it for a few years, you usually get to keep all the money. So Miami right now is offering $200,000 to first-time home buyers. So lots of different, lots of large sums of money out there. We're going to touch on some of those in just a minute. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Collins. I dedicated my career to helping people tap into down payment assistance programs and grants. Most of the people I work with are able to purchase with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket using these down payment assistance programs and grants to cover all of your down payment. So for most of the people I work with, the money is the easy part. Zero down is very obtainable, especially with the new app that we've just developed. The other side of it, trying to get your closing costs taken care of, well, we've got lots of tools to help educate you on that front, whether it's seller concessions, lender credits, or other grants that are out there to pay the closing costs. There are lots of levers to pull and buttons to push to take care of the closing costs for you as well. Most of the programs that I help people tap into do require some contribution on your side, okay? it's taking care of the down payment. It's taking care of most of the closing costs. So I always tell people, plan on a couple $1,000s. Okay. Ideally 1%. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, plan on $3,000 is usually the minimum amount to get somebody into some of these programs. So with that being said, let's jump right into this evening. Okay, so I always like to start off with some of the stories. I'm going to make this quick. These are some of the success stories, the people that we've been able to help over the past few months. So, for example, number one, here's Nate. Nate actually purchased a home out in White Lake Township using a down payment assistance program that not only gave him his down payment, it actually covered, it gave him a solar system, which we are waiting to get some feedback from Nate as far as how much his electric bills went down for the solar system they just installed. Kenneth, gosh, he showed up on my radar probably about 6 months ago. And Kenneth actually called me from his barber shop. His barbers who recommended him to me. Kenneth was his roommate moved out, and his name wasn't on the lease, and his landlord pushed him out. So it was a long, great, awesome story. But he was able to tap into $10,000 from the state of Michigan. He was able to buy this home on Vaughn Street with only I think it was $1,000 out of pocket total, and he needed no money at closing. So Kenneth's story was a little bit more challenging because he was actually homeless for a few weeks there, but we were able to get him hooked up with some housing during that interim, and he bought a home on Vaughn, and he is there with his new dog Maestro, and very, very happy for Kenneth. Next person, Shannon. Shout out to the people at the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. They referred Shannon to me. She actually purchased a home on Wyoming, only $117,000. She only needed $2,000 out of pocket using a zero down grant through Flagstar Bank. And Emily is turned. She's just a big fan of Emily. I learned just as much from her as she did from me. But we were able to get Emily $33,134 in grants and down payment assistance money. So she qualified for a $25,000 program from the city of Detroit. We stacked that with a closing cost program of $5,000, a down payment gift of 3%, and then an appraisal grant on top of it. So all in $33,134 on a $117,000 house. Her payment actually came in a couple $100 less than what she was paying in rent. So happy for Emily. Tashiana purchased a home with us. Great story there. Brian qualified for $10,000 from the from the state of Michigan. His payments came in under $1,200. Only needed a few $1,000s out of pocket. Deborah, just a great, heartwarming story here. Deborah called me one day. I take that back. Yes, actually, Deborah called me, and then she introduced me to her landlord. Her landlord has since referred me to a few of his tenants that we're working on selling houses to. But Deborah called me and told me that she had a landlord that agreed to sell her the house a few years ago for $125,000, and it happened to be in the University District. So any of you in the Detroit area probably know there's nothing cheap about the University District. So the fact that her landlord honored that agreement from 5 years ago and sold it to her for $125,000 just worked out fantastically. So she ended up getting a mortgage, about $70,000, I think, on it, and her payments were several $100s lower than what she was paying in rent. So very, very happy for Deborah and her landlord. Shout out to LaDon. What an honorable man to really step up and man of his word, even though it was 5 years later. So very, very happy. One thing these people all have in common, a lot of them were basically where you are this evening. They were on my webinar. So I've had people that have been following me. I had somebody I just sat down with on Monday that's been following me for 3 years until she was ready to get things rolling. And I'm a patient person. Whether your timeline is 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter to me. I always tell people it doesn't hurt to make the phone call, schedule the phone call now, and we can put you on a path to home ownership. And keep in mind, there's nothing, this is not about perfection. This is just about getting you in that position where we can take advantage of these programs, especially when they surface. Some of these programs have limited amounts of funds. So it's always nice to know what your timeline and situation is so we can recommend. So, for example, the city of Detroit just came out with their $25,000 program, gosh, a couple of weeks ago. And I had 20 people ready to roll on it. And fortunately, about half of them had everything in order and were ready to go. So it's all a function of timing, because a lot of these programs do come and go. But I can tell you, there's always money in play or available. So don't let that hold you up. So let's jump right into this. So I always like to tell people, what is the difference? What is a down payment assistance and what is a grant? So down payment assistance programs, they come in three forms. The first form is basically they'll give you money and you own the home for a certain period of time, be it 3, 5, or 7 years, and then you get to keep all the money. Okay. They just have residency requirements with it. Okay. So as long as you live there a little while, you get to keep all the money. Okay. That's the preferred way. The second type of down payment assistance program is where you get free use of money. Okay. For example, the state of Michigan has a down payment assistance program, $10,000. You don't get to keep the money. When you sell the house, they want the money back. Okay. So if somebody's going to give you free use of money, why wouldn't you take it? Okay. It's a great tool. That program is always out there. That program's been around since, I think it was 87 when I got into real estate. So it's been around for quite some time. Next one is for down payment assistance program is where you have to pay a loan back for it. I don't really favor those. I don't do a lot of those. I might do a couple of those a year. Okay. I'm all about getting into the free money or the free use of the money, or more importantly, grants. Okay. Now, what are grants? Grants are free money. That's money that you get the time of closing, yours to keep. Day one, you buy the house, it's all yours. Okay. So ideally, first, we want to tap into the grants. Then we want to do the down payment assistance programs. Now, keep in mind, like I told you with Emily, sometimes we can stack 2, 3 programs on top of each other. That's when it really gets exciting. So, and this is available all over the country. That's why we developed the Zero Down Scout app, and I'm going to go over that in just a few minutes. So, what are some of the eligibility requirements? Now, keep in mind, for the most part, we want to see your credit scores above a 580. It depends. I get people to purchase homes with scores all the way down to 540 routinely. It depends on how the program's set up. So, for example, right now, City of Detroit, there's a $25,000 down payment assistance program that as long as you own the home for 3 years, it's either 3 or 5, you get to keep the whole 25. Now, that program can be stacked with other programs, and there's no credit score requirements. Okay. So I have people that can purchase up to a $200,000 house, use that program with credit scores all the way down to 540. Okay. So if you happen to have lower credit scores, do not let that hold you back. Okay. Schedule a call with me. Always happy to learn your situation and point you in the right direction. And for those of you that do need some credit help, let me give you a couple of things here. Okay. Number one, I'm going to put here is in the chat box. Here is a link to my calendar where you can book a call. And let me get this out to our people on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. There you go. There's a link to my calendar. Next thing I want to give you is a link to my credit repair webinar. So for those of you that need help on the credit side, I do credit repair webinars once a month, teaching people how to get a quick spike in their scores. And basically, we can get your scores up 60 points in 60 days is what I tend to claim. It's not very challenging. We just take a look at your credit. We try to get a feel for what is the what are the best tools that are at our disposal to get a quick spike for you. And there is my credit repair webinar link. All right, let's get this in the chat. And I'll take you to my website in just a moment where you can actually get all of this information and a lot of other stuff too. So all kinds of educational tools at your fingertips with me to teach you how to tap into these programs. So as far as the eligibility requirements, we talked about the credit. The other side of it, we need to have predictable income, whether it's a fixed income, okay? Don't let anybody tell you you can't buy on a fixed income, okay? Emily got 33,000. She was on a fixed income, okay? There were a few people that I showed you examples of today that were on fixed incomes. So don't let that hold you back. So as far as the income, they do have debt to income ratio. So they don't want to see more than half of your income going to your new house payment and the bills that are debts that are showing up on your credit report. Okay. I'm always happy to calculate those debt to income ratios for you. Just schedule a time on my calendar. I can learn what is going on in your world and kind of give you a path to get your ducks in a row financially so you can qualify from that standpoint. So I always tell people, I can get you the money. Okay. So the money is the easy part, oddly enough. So anybody out there saying they need a lot of money to buy a house, hogwash, don't need it. Just a couple $1,000, you can do it. So the money, and we're going to help you with the credit. The income, that's the one thing that we can't help you with. Okay. So we have certain guidelines on that. So we need to have good verifiable or provable income to get you across the finish line. So benefits of DPAs and grants. I'm going to go over some of those and where to look at those on our app in just a minute. So some of the misconceptions about down payment assistance programs. So it used to be, and I still hear all the time, oh, these are expensive. Your interest rates are higher, things like that. And is that true? Yeah, it can be. Okay. I don't work with any of those. There's so much free money out there that never gets used. There's no need to do it. What I find is that most lenders only do 2 or 3 programs. So a lot of people think the first step is to get pre-approved. And I feel like the mortgage world's done a pretty good job changing that narrative over the past 30 years. When I first got into real estate, everybody went to their realtor first, and then the realtor said, hey, I've got a guy that does mortgages, go there. And, then the mortgage world about 20 years ago started to restack the deck a little bit and convince people, hey, come to us first. Let us get you pre-approved, and then we'll connect you with a real estate agent. And, not that that's all bad, but if you're looking for down payment assistance programs and grants, the chance of you tripping across the lender that's going to offer the most amount of money is like getting a winning lottery ticket. Okay. If there are 3,000 programs across the country and most lenders only do 2 or 3 of them, you're probably not going to have yourself aligned with some of the best, some of the lenders that are going to give the most amount of money. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why we created the application Zero Down Scout. Okay. And let me give you a feel for what that is. Here is Zero Down Scout. Okay. You can download it on the Apple Store or on the Google Play Store. And what does it do? Well, it actually is a database of 3,000 down payment assistance programs and grants across the U.S. So if you are one of those people that are looking for free money, this is the best place to start. Okay. Just download the app, enter your information. It's going to, you'll be able to log in. Let's go, it's taken me to the App Store, but let me see if I can get out here and get right to the, I guess we changed our website a little bit. Oops. Let's see if we can get in here. You're in. Okay. Well, anyways, you go right into the site. All you do is you can start out by entering a zip code. It's going to tell you how many programs you qualify for. And it's going to tell you the amounts. Now, if you want to dig deeper, like put in a specific address, it gets even better. And it's going to tell you exactly what programs are out there. If you register for the program, it's going to give you any alerts if any new programs surface over the next 30 days. But most importantly, it's going to put you in the driver's seat. So you're going to see what programs are going to best fit you and your family. And then from there, we can help connect you with lenders that are actually doing those programs. So there's no guesswork. There's no calling 20, 30 lenders to figure out what programs there are. This is going to give you the names of the programs. Then we can reverse engineer it and tell you what lenders are doing it. And more importantly, what lenders are proficient about it. Okay. So once you get to that point, reach out through the chat, or you can call us directly. Actually, I'll even give you my personal phone number here, 248-252-7283. You can reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to connect you, 248-252-7283. I'll be happy to connect you directly with the lenders. Now, the reason I say that is if you call some of these lenders directly, you're going to go to a call center. And chances are those call centers may not know about all the programs that are out here. So if you allow us to help make that introduction, there's a couple of benefits there. The big one is we're going to connect you with someone that's in the know as far as how to get into the money at whatever bank it is where we connect you with, number one. And number two, if you have any hiccups and hurdles, which there are always hiccups and hurdles along the way, we're going to be an advocate for you to work through those issues. Every now and then, I get a phone call from someone and says, hey, I went to one of your webinars a couple of months ago. I saw that you had a program. We went to a bank, and now I can't get the person to return my phone call. And chances are a lot of these banks have hundreds, if not thousands of loan officers. I don't know all of them, and they're not going to talk to me. But if I make the introduction for you and refer you to someone, I can certainly jump in, help out, and have that high-level conversation with you to get you pre-approved for what areas you're looking in. And then we can also help you make sure that you align yourself with a real estate agent that knows how to get these types of transactions across the finish line, because there is an art behind it, okay? So sometimes I find that inexperience doesn't really work well with a lot of these programs. And the reason I say that is there's no reason. Most of the sellers and agents that I work with when I'm negotiating these transactions, they have no idea we're using a down payment assistance or grant program. In my opinion, many times it's none of their business. Okay, we don't tell $1 million homeowners or buyers. We don't say, hey, they're pulling money out of Merrill Lynch, $200,000 Merrill Lynch for the down payment. No, that's no one's business, and it's no one's business if you're using down payment assistance and grant programs. What is their business is that we meet those timelines to get things done, and I feel like that's where experience comes in. So reach out to me for those introductions. Always happy to help. Just book a time on my calendar. Okay. And while we're out of the presentation, let me go in. If you are looking for any information, you can find a lot of our free educational information on our website, which is called owntheroof.com. Now, on this website, we have all kinds of resources. If you'd like copies of our books, you don't need to go out to Amazon to buy these, okay? Just text us, and just text me, and we'll send you a complimentary copy, okay? Same for the no down payment, same for the credit repair books too. So if you're a reader, have at it. We've got you covered. If you are someone that likes to take digital courses, we've got you covered there too. Just register We've got our no down payment book. I did a course on it, probably 6 to 7 hours long. We also did a credit repair course, a digital course where it's probably 4 or 5 hours long. And for those of you that want to know how to structure deals for success, to get them across the finish line and get them accepted by sellers, I did a 2-hour course on what I do and how I structure transactions to get them across the finish line. All of these are free for people that follow me. So other resources, obviously we've got our Zero Down webinar, which you're here this evening, and then the credit repair webinar. And you can actually get to our Zero Down Scout information here too. Okay, so if you didn't get a chance to download the link. So we are all about giving as much free education as we can so that when you are in the position to make that decision to purchase a home, that we're there for you. Okay, all right. So going back, next thing. So like I said, we don't need 20% down. So what is the first step? In my mind, like I said a few minutes ago, the first step is 100% download the application. Here's a link. You can actually hit this QR code, download the app. It's out at the Google Play and Apple Store. Just type in Zero Down Scout and you can download it. Okay. So the first step is to take a look and see what programs are out there. 100%. From there, once we identify what programs are in your area. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these programs change and they're based on geographic areas and income levels and things like that. So the more information and more data you put into Zero Down Scout, the better the information you're going to get is. Okay. So we want to check your eligibility criteria. When you look at those programs, you're going to be able to see what is the eligibility criteria. Okay. What kind of income do we need? What's the credit score and what other factors do they have? And if they don't, a lot of times they don't have that published online. Okay. That's stuff that we just need to know. So reach out to us, schedule a call with us. We're happy to go over that information with you and point you in the right direction from there. Step number 3, once we connect you with the lenders are going to want you to gather your information. So you might as well start now. So they're not going to need a ton. They're going to need your W-2s, tax returns, your bank statements, basically your proof of income. Okay. Now, remember what I said earlier, the money's the easy part. So don't think you need a lot of money and don't think you need perfect credit. This is not about perfection. This is about getting people into homes. Okay. So we can stop paying landlords those ridiculous amounts that we pay every month. And then the next step, like I said, number 4 is we're going to connect you with a lender who's going to get you pre-approved for, chances are not one, I always like to get people pre-approved for at least 2, if not 3 programs. Now, the reason that is we always want a plan B. The last thing I want to do is get somebody hyped up for a move and then plan A isn't there anymore or we missed something, okay? Most of the people I work with, when I send you to a lender, they're going to be able to do a couple of programs. All right. And then the next step is start working with a realtor. Okay. Actually, what I should tell people, the first step is I always like it when people start looking at homes. Okay. Let me give you a link to my website. This is where you can start looking for homes. Right now, a $1,300 rent payment is equating to about $150,000 house. And right now, the average 2-bedroom apartment in the U.S. is $1,350 a month. So crazy number. Somebody would have told me that 10 years ago. I wouldn't have wagered that one. So the reason I give you my website, I find that the quicker you get in tune with how your money spends, the easier it's going to be. Okay. You're going to be, once you know how your money spends, when quality home is put in front of you, you're not going to think twice. You're just going to jump. Okay. So it's all about knowing the market. So I think it's wise that you get in tune with that as quickly as possible. All right. So imagine opening the door to your home if not for you, for your family. It's a process, yes, but it's possible. Okay. So many different ways to do this. So many different programs that are out there. And like I said, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, I'm flexible with that. Okay. So I am going to open things up for some questions before we move on to the next step. Let's see. Someone's asking, how do you get grants? Well, a lot of the programs, the grants are typically, they have less money associated with them. So the grants are a little bit tougher to find, but we can usually stack the grants on top of some of the DPA programs. So I always tell people, reach out. The grants come in really odd amounts. So for example, some of the grants might come in the way of CRA money, especially right now. A lot of banks are pushing money to the streets based for Community Reinvestment Act. So that's the regional banks. So there are a lot of regional banks that actually have federal money that they acquire for grants that they stack on top of things, and they don't advertise them nearly as much as they should. So for example, if I look back on one of the people up front, that was Emily. Let's go back to Emily right now. So Emily qualified for $25,000 down payment assistance, a 3% gift program that was part of the CRA money. That was actually through Flagstar Bank. On top of that, we got a $5,000 closing cost grant and a $500 appraisal grant. Okay, so she qualified for $5,500 in grant money. Now, a lot of the DPA money programs that I work with are forgivable. Okay, we just have to hunt them down. Depends on where you're buying. So in my neck of the woods, there's a fair amount of DPA money that as long as you own the home for 5 years, you get to keep all of it. Okay, so just not knowing what your situation is, I can usually point you in the right direction. I always say, go to CRA money is, someone's asking, my apologies, CRA is part of the Community Reinvestment Act. Okay, and the Community Reinvestment Act is what most banks have to adhere to. Okay, goes back to the great meltdown 2008 when people tapped into TARP money. In exchange to tap into that TARP money, they passed the Community Reinvestment Act, and anybody that took the TARP money to survive, bam, they basically have to abide by the CRA guidelines right now, which means they have to push X amount of money to the streets on an annual basis to underserved communities. Okay, doesn't always work that way in their mind, underserved communities or first-time home buyers. Okay, but the guideline does stress underserved communities. So that's CRA money, and it comes out usually around the first of the year, anywhere from January to March, and then it lasts as long as it lasts. So, but it comes out in different versions. They tend to package it up and put it out in different ways every year. So, but you'll find right now a lot of the regional banks are where that money sits. Now, the big boys like Chase, Bank of America, they're always sitting on a ton of money. They're kind of a pain to work with, but Bank of America, heck, they've been sitting on billions since 2012 when they got, I think back in 2012, Bank of America did a settlement of $3 billion for some of the shenanigans that went on with the meltdown, the robo signing for foreclosures, things like that. So they created a fund. So, I mean, the headlines where Chase was fined $3 billion, that's not really how it works. They might have paid how many millions in fines, but $3 billion of that money went into a fund to help underserved communities. And what's crazy is that was, 13 years ago. And last time I heard, they were still sitting on $2 billion of the $3 billion. So they are dripping it out. So it's almost comical how some of these large banks work that way. So, iPhone is with Chase. I'm not a huge fan of Chase with some of these. I find that their mortgage processing division just doesn't work nearly as swiftly as some of the other ones out there. And I find that they're, from a credit standpoint, they're tough. Okay. They don't like to do things with credit scores below, gosh, I want to say 640, 660. So that's just not the sweet spot for myself and a lot of the people that I work with. Most of the people that I work with are coming from situations where, where credit is being challenged right now. Especially right now, we're looking at, in the United States, we're looking at 30-day default rates for credit cards, and auto loans are skyrocketing at a level that we haven't seen since 2008. Actually, the 30-day late or delinquencies on credit cards, someone had shared with me, is going back to 1991. So credit is really falling off a cliff right now for a lot of people, and I get it. I go to the grocery stores and with my wife, and I can't believe what it costs to fill up that grocery cart compared to 20 years ago. So it's not easy for families right now. So someone's saying, I have a credit union. Credit unions are hit or miss. So I find that some of the regional banks tend to have the most amount of money just because we can couple it with some CRA money. And some of them are pretty forgiving too. So a lot of the banks will go down to 580. If we need to go deeper, we can go to some of the mortgage lenders. I find credit unions just don't have the staffing to deal with or apply or get approved for some of these down payment assistance programs or grants. So now there's exceptions to every rule. I mean, there are a couple of credit unions do a good job, but so I would just say schedule a call with me. I'd love to know what credit union you're working with, and we can figure it out from there. Let's see. Any other questions out there? All right, let me check over here. Okay, so someone asking, how do we structure, or how do we get in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket? And that's a great question. So, for example, there's a couple of different ways to do it. So, like I said, the down payment's the easy part. Okay, so with all of the DPA programs and grants, so getting in the down payment, that's it. It's the closing cost. Now, depending upon how much the property taxes are, what the homeowner's insurance is, closing costs with the lender, and the title insurance, those are the big things, those four things: title insurance, homeowner's insurance, closing costs, and taxes. Taxes are actually the biggest thing right now. So we want to add those things up. All your closing costs kind of go together. So let's just say your taxes are $3,000. Say your closing costs are $2,000. And this is probably for a $200,000 house, mind you. So that's $5,000. Title insurance might be $1,500. Homeowner's insurance might be $1,500. Total's $8,000. Okay, not a lot of money for closing costs. So this is what we could do. Number one, we can always ask the seller to pay some closing costs. Okay, once we start getting into we can either ask for it up front, or we can negotiate it if things pop up on a home inspection. So it's not uncommon for us to at least try to get $2,000 or $3,000 folded in there. So you've got $8,000 in closing costs. That'll take care of $3,000 if we can get the seller to pay $3,000. Now, some lenders, depending upon the program, we can negotiate lender credits. So I'm not going to go into what lender credits are. Just know that they exist with premium pricing. So, for example, I just had somebody on Monday that I referred to earlier. We're going to get $2,500 in lender credits. But let's just say we get $2,000 in lender credits. So we've got $3,000 in concessions, $2,000 in lender credits. That's $5,000 right there. That just leaves $3,000 left. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, that's $3,000. So are there ways to get other? Yes. To get another $1,000 with a bank is usually not too challenging. It can come by the way of, let's see, I had one last Friday closing that. What we did was we were able to drill her costs down $1,000 at the last moment because the bank had a $500 to open a checking account. Boom. Put $20 in the checking account. We got a $500 credit at closing. Put $20 in the savings account. You got another $500. There's a $1,000 credit at closing just by opening a checking and savings account. So there's all kinds of little tricks there with lender credits, premium pricing, opening checking or savings, seller concessions. I mean, there's a lot of ways for us to try and chip away at those different things. Okay. And oddly enough, a lot of employers, if you look at EAPs, there are a lot of EAPs out there that have money sitting in them too. So if you're working for a fairly large company that has an HR department, employee benefits area, $500, $1,000, there's lots of money, and I don't want to call it change because it's decent sums, and it all chips away at that bottom line. So when it comes to amassing that amount of money to get you down to only a couple $1,000s out of pocket, it's something that we do routinely. And I go over it in my courses, either in my book or my digital courses, or so I go into detail how we do that. So if you're looking for those types of details, you can go into my course, How to Structure. Where are we here? If we go back, right here, structure deals with little money down. I go over all of the tips and tricks as far as how to get in with very little money out of pocket. Okay. So anybody wants to get in the weeds on that, jump in there, take that course. All you got to do is enter your name, email address, submit, and it's going to take you right to it. So by doing that, it's going to text you and email you the access information. Okay, just that easy. All right. Any other questions out there? So someone's asking about credit help. So definitely sign up for my credit repair webinar. If you go to my website, Own the Roof, or the link that I entered earlier, there is my credit repair webinar. My next one is May 23rd, 9 a.m. And on this, I focus on the do's and, more importantly, the don'ts of what you do with credit and how to get your score up 60 points in 60 days. Okay. And when I say don'ts, there are some things that you don't want to do. I always tell, biggest thing, if you have a collection account over 2 years old, please do not pay them off. Okay. This is one trick. If you pay a collection account off that's over 2 years old, next month, it's going to show up on your credit report as collection paid, May 2026. You've just reactivated. Your credit scores are going to go down. Okay. So if you've got old collection accounts over 2 years old, just let them lie. There are other ways to handle that where your scores won't go down, or if they do go down, they're not going to affect us adversely. Okay. Those are the things that I go over. Okay. How can you pay off and pay down your credit cards, go to quick spike, and then be able to use them a week later and still get your score down? Tips like that. So these are kind of advanced maneuvers. For those of you that don't know me, I mean, I've been doing this 28 years now. So I've spent over 20 years in the mortgage world. I know exactly what it takes to manipulate credit scores and how to get things done. So I know what the lenders are looking for. And I basically teach people how to get things done and how to basically get you across the finish line. And like I said, it's not about perfection. It's just setting you up for the right maneuver and taking advantage of some of these programs that are out there that, a lot of people, I mean, I didn't even know most of these existed. Most people in the mortgage world are told to avoid these types of programs because they're a pain. They're really not. In this digital age, it's just submitting one more form. It's not that big of a deal. So, all right. So we are pushing 7:50. So last call for any questions out there before we wrap it up this evening. So any of you that like to see the replay will be available tomorrow morning. You can always go out to my YouTube channel, Own the Roof, go into the live section, and you'll see all the previous webinars we've done for the past few years. Good. Got someone asking about self-employment and bankruptcy. Okay. So right now, self-employment is always a little bit more tricky. As long as you've been self-employed for the past couple of years, the last for your tax returns, and we can usually average your income, get you where you need to be. As far as bankruptcy, bankruptcy isn't a no. As long as your bankruptcy was discharged over 2 years ago and your credit scores are in the right space, we're good. Okay. If you happen to be into a Chapter 13, as long as you made your payments on time in the Chapter 13 for the past 12 months, you can purchase a home while you're in bankruptcy. Okay. One thing I will tell you is right now I'm seeing a fair amount of people that are wrestling with the possibly do some of these debt consolidation companies. So please don't do that. They are not your friend. They may come off as sincere in helping you, but they are not helping you. Debt consolidation with some of those companies. Now, if you're doing a debt consolidation loan, that's one thing. But if you're using a services to negotiate your debts down for you, that's looked at just like doing a bankruptcy without the bankruptcy court protection. So if you're in that kind of spot right now, bankruptcy is a more preferred way to go, in my opinion, than to actually go through that. So if you're going to be treated like you're in bankruptcy, you might as well have the bankruptcy court protection. The debt consolidation companies just are not your friends. They take as much money up front as they possibly can. And just when your creditors are about to threaten to sue you or do threaten to sue you, that's when they start to pay them. So I go over all of these things, bankruptcy, debt consolidation, all of this I go over in my credit repair webinar. So if you want to learn about credit and how it applies to the mortgage world, great tool. So, and that is, what did we say that was? That is going to be on May 23rd. So, I do these webinars. I try to do them once a week, 3 times out of the month is probably more accurate. So if you or any of your friends, family members, anywhere in the country need help or they're tired of renting, have them tune in. So next week, I'm going to get back on track and we're going to go over everything from A to Z. We're going to dive into a little bit more depth. Tonight, we really are excited about getting our Zero Down Scout app launched and how we can help people on a larger scale that way. So that's why we spent so much time on that this evening. So please do me a favor, download that Zero Down Scout. And one other thing, if I could trouble you while we're in here, and I don't know how many people we have left. Okay, looks about 10 there. Okay, and all right, online. Let me do this. If I could please trouble you, I always forget to do this. And this is a link to my Google review page. If you could do me a favor and leave my team and I a review, we really try to pay it forward and give people as much free educational content as possible. And I always forget to ask for reviews. So let me put this out there. If you do stumble across this, please, if you get some value out of it, please leave us 5 stars there. We are really trying to get these up quite a bit. So, and any of you that would like a free copy of my book, please never hesitate to text or reach out. So we have digital copies available for people if you are readers. So we're right about that 50-minute mark. I want to thank you all very much for attending this evening. If you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to me. I'm putting my cell phone number in here again, 248-252-7283. Now, I am a glorified phone jockey. I'm on the phone all day long. So if you do call and you get a voicemail, please leave a message. Otherwise, please shoot me a text. I do get cancellations on my calls, and I try to return my texts with phone calls as quickly as they come in too. So anyways, thank you all very much for attending this evening. Hope you're able to get outside and enjoy some of that beautiful weather this evening. So hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good night, everyone.